Nu ko, pulkstens 4. Sāksim šo vebināru. Mani sauc Jānis Tupulis. Šodien man tas gods pārstāvēt DATI Group kopā ar kolēģiem no Red Hat. Es sniegšu nelielu ievadu, arī pēcvārdu, bet mūsu galvenais runātājs šodien būs Timo Vileni. Hai, Timo!
Hello!
Un Timo prezentācija būs angliski. Mums te fonā Inna arī palīdz ar tehnisko pusi. Lūdzu uzdot jautājumus čatā. Ja jūs jautājums ir vairāk Timo, tad vēlams angliski, bet tas nav obligāti, gan jau mēs tiksim galā arī ar tulkošanu. Tad jāķerās klāt. Redzat prezentācijas virsrakstu, kuram, laikam jau mūsdienās ir diezgan acīm redzama atbilde, bet tomēr es vismaz ievadam gribu parunāt nedaudz par to kontekstu, kur mēs esam un kur mēs ejam. Jā, paldies, Inna, ka uzminēja, ka tagad ir pirmais slaids. Virtualizācija, protams, ir jau varētu teikt, sena tehnoloģija gadiem lietota, ja ne gluži gadu desmitiem. Tad noteikti vairāk par 10 gadiem, un jūs esat redzējuši šos nosaukumus. Es negribu teikt, ka šis ir izsmeļošs saraksts dažādiem virtualizācijas risinājumiem, bet tomēr. Un no tā, ko es redzu apkārt, joprojām ļoti daudzas organizācijas un uzņēmumi iztiek ar šīm tehnoloģijām, respektīvi lieto kaut kādu infrastruktūru un uz tās darbina lietotnes virtuālajās mašīnās. Un tagad, Inna, lūdzu nākamo slaidu. Tomēr pasauli ļoti strauji mainās un arī konteinerizācija faktiski jau ir daudz gadi, ja tā paskatās. Teiksim, savā pieredzē ar pirmajiem konteinerizētajiem risinājumiem, respektīvi lietotnēm, kas tiek piegādātas konteineros un arī uzturēti konteineros, esmu saskāries jau vismaz gadus 5. Kur tas reāli tiek izmantots produkcijā, un droši līdz ar to varu teikt, ka gan šīs tehnoloģijas ir nobriedušas. Šeit runājot plašāk, ne tikai par to konkrēto, par ko runāsim nedaudz vēlāk, bet visplašākajā nozīmē. Un arī šīs darba metodes, kas šis komplekts ir ļoti svarīgs. Mums nav tik liela pievienotā vērtība izmantot tikai tehnoloģiju, mēs nepārējam arī uz atbilstošām darba metodēm. Protams, to var darīt, bet iegūms nebūs tik liels. Un tā kā tā pasaule ar vien straujāk un straujāk iet uz priekšu, gan tehnoloģija nozīmē, gan savstarpējās konkurences, teiksim, uzņēmumu līmenī, gan arī tādā ģeopolitiskā līmenī, konkurējot Ķīnai, Amerikas Savienotajām valstīm, Eiropas Savienībai un citiem. Tātad šīs tehnoloģijas, tā kā viņas automātiski iespiežās pie jaunu sistēmu veidošanas, bet ļoti bieži arī domājot par to, kā no esošās situācijas pāriet, kā tad tikt pie šo jauno tehnoloģiju lietošanas, par ko arī lielā mērā būs Timo stāsts. Papildus tam, Latvijā ir redzams beidzamajos gados diezgan liels jaunu uzņēmumu, startupu uzplaukums, ne tikai Latvijā, Baltijā. Nākamā slaida, Inna. Es pieļauju, ka tā ir viena daļa no iemesliem, kādēļ uzņēmums Red Hat ir ienācis Baltijas tirgū. Tas jau ir noticis pirms pāris gadiem. Daļai no jums varbūt tas nav jaunums, daļai varbūt tas ir jaunums. Tātad pie Red Hat produktiem varēja tikt arī iepriekš, bet tad tagad tiešākā veidā šī piegādes sistēma ir izveidota, respektīvi Red Hat pats patiešo nepārdod savu produktu abonementus. Red Hat to dara caur partneriem. Protams, ka Red Hat iesaistās procesā, kā jūs arī redzat un redzēsiet šodienas pasākumā ar padomu gan mums partneriem, gan potenciālajiem klientiem. Tātad jau vairāk nekā gadu DATI Group ir viens no 2 Latvijā advanced līmeņa partneriem ar atbilstošu personālu, ar atbilstošu komandu. Jāpiebilst, ka DATI Group jau pirms tam ļoti nopietni ir investējusi atvērto tehnoloģiju izmantošanā, pielietošanā lielākoties infrastruktūras risinājumos, un šis tad ir vēl viens no veidiem, kur sadarbojoties ar uzņēmumu, kas arī pilnībā savu biznesu ir izveidojis uz atvērtā koda pamata, un ir viens no, manuprāt, tādiem lielākajiem veiksmes stāstiem pasaulē atvērto tehnoloģiju izmantošanai biznesam. Tad varbūt, kad pietiks ar šo ievadu, Innu nākošais slaids. Okay, Timo, enough for introductions or entry speeches. Let's get to the thing we are willing to talk about today. So floor is yours. Un es atgādinu jautājumus lūdzu chatā.
Okay, so hey, good afternoon for everybody. My name is Timo Vilen. I'm a solution architect here at the Red Hat, and I have been working over 2 years for the Baltic countries with our salesperson Rami Talukas as a tutor. And in today's session, I will go through what the Red Hat OpenShift is, why that is like a build, and how it will make life easier if you're going to use the OpenShift. And I will explain something that how our existing OpenShift customers, why they have chosen the OpenShift and what that really is. And reason where I would like to start is just go through like a basic things, how the OpenShift is working and how it's built and these kind of things, because when I started like over 2 years ago here at the Red Hat, I knew what OpenShift is. I knew that it's very popular in any kind of and any size of customers when they have a need for the containers, but still there was some kind of pieces what I was like missing, and I did not fully understand until I took a deeper look for the OpenShift and how it's working and how everything goes like much easier with the OpenShift. There is like in this topic, there is the faster development and easier operations. I'm normally saying that I'm dividing the story around the containers in 2 parts. Of course, the first one is that how the developers actually can take all the advantage out from the platform, and also how the operations, the people who need to maintain and live with the platform, what they will get and how their life will be easier with the OpenShift. So next slide, please. So let's start. This is like a little bit busy slide, but I will start to explain these like a piece by piece. And the whole OpenShift is the platform what is built for the containers. Like if we will go like many years back when the virtualization was coming, there was like many kind of solution what you can use to virtualize the servers. But the challenge was there that you need to have experience and really deep understanding every piece, what you can use to build the virtualization platform and live with that. And then there was a vendors like VMware, which was coming to the market, and they have a full-blown solution which was like a very easy to set up, very easy to maintain, very easy to understand, and people actually was like excited about, okay, this is exactly what we need to be able to run to servers in a virtualized mode. And OpenShift is the same kind of platform, but fully built for the containers. So the idea there is that when it's really easy to deploy, you can run OpenShift today in like any platform. And if we will look this picture, our slide here, and we will start from the bottom, that is absolutely one of the key features what OpenShift is offering, that you can run OpenShift in physical hardware, you can run OpenShift in almost like in virtualized environments. We're supporting the VMware, Nutanix, Red Hat virtualization. You can run the OpenShift there as well. You can, of course, use the like a service providers. They are offering the OpenShift as a service, and also from the public clouds. And regarding the public clouds, there is kind of like two options. First one is that you can buy the OpenShift subscriptions and do the installation by yourself to any cloud service. Then you're just buying the resources from the cloud service. Or today you can even buy OpenShift as a service directly from the AWS or Microsoft Azure as a service. And when we think about that, you are going to modernize your application, you will start use the containers to be more flexible and more faster to put all kind of new features and functions inside the applications that your company can do more better quality and better kind of business and service for the customers. Then you need to think of where you would like to run these applications. And the OpenShift is offering like a full-blown hybrid cloud solution for that. Because if you are preferring the cloud services, nowadays, if you will just choose any kind of like a cloud service provider and you would like to run containers there, yes, there is a option to run containers there, but you need to buy all the services around that. And OpenShift actually, like I said, it's built for the containers, and after the installation, it will automatically gives you the necessary services what are needed that you can run containers and see what is happening there, like logging, monitoring, networking, storage, these kind of things as well. And also the OpenShift, when we think about the IoT, AI, ML kind of solutions, today OpenShift is also possible to run in a single node as well. And I will explain later on more how this whole architecture actually is built. But the OpenShift, it will like it works in any platform and gives the flexibility and freedom to choose wherever you would like to run these applications, and always you can run these in the same way, because the OpenShift is the main platform there. Of course, we have heard like many kind of things that, okay, we would like to run cloud native directly from some kind of cloud service. But then if you need to run this application in your own premise, how you can do those. If you would like to change the cloud service provider, how you can do that. But with the OpenShift, there is always the freedom to choose that one. But of course, someone is saying that, yeah, but then you will have to always use the OpenShift, kind of like a yes, but it will give you the freedom to run it in anywhere. And if we will go up in this picture, there is the Red Hat Enterprise Linux and Red Hat Enterprise Linux Core OS. Now, when we jump into the architecture, how this OpenShift platform and clusters are built, everything is coming automatically out of the box. So we never need to install like an operating system first and then add on some services above it. We have created different kind of installers what you can use to deploy OpenShift cluster to cloud service or virtualized environment, or we even providing assisted installer, which is available from the Red Hat Cloud Service, which you can use to install OpenShift any kind of environment. Is that like a bare metal servers or any virtualization environment? In theory, it can be whatever. And that assisted installer has done created so easy to use that if you can read, then you can go through like question after question is only asking a few questions, and then it will create you the necessary file, what you need, and you can create like a USB stick or put your virtual server with that file, and then it will pops up to the cloud service. And when you have enough amount of the servers, like we know that Kubernetes, we need to have like at least 3 master nodes, and then we need to have like a worker nodes which we will use to create a cluster. But when you have enough amount of those, you will choose which roles, and then you just say that create cluster to me. And after a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour, it will say that, hey, your OpenShift cluster is up and running. Click here to access the console, and then the platform is there, very easily and very easy to use. And main thing here is that as well, that like OpenShift is kind of like an appliance type of deployment. We will never need to update these parts like operating systems separately. When there is a new update for the OpenShift, it will automatically update all the parts, what is in the package there. Then, of course, the OpenShift that uses the Kubernetes, because the Kubernetes is the orchestration tool for the containers. And we kind of like very often we are hearing these kind of questions that what is the difference between Kubernetes and the OpenShift? And like I said, that Kubernetes is the orchestration tool, but OpenShift will provide around Kubernetes all these things what are like required, like I said, networking, logging, monitoring, all kind of management tools, pipelines, these kind of things. OpenShift will include those as well around the Kubernetes. And then, of course, here is the cluster services. And again, that I've already mentioned these ones, but especially for the networking point of view, it's really important to understand that when we're deploying the cluster, all the load balancers, all the networking, those are built automatically as well. So after the installation, you are able to just create new applications, you can use even operators very easily to bring new web servers in a container in the top of the OpenShift, and then you can just start to use it. So that is like one value of the OpenShift. And in top of that, there is a much more services what we can use with the OpenShift, like a service mesh, serverless. I will cover those later on, but also tools for the developers, different kind of like tools what they can use, even that they are developing things offline or whatever. And also the operator framework, which is kind of like installers when you want to install more applications in top of the OpenShift. So the whole package will make the life very easy with around the containers. And again, like I said, that how our customers have been, what are the reasons why they have been chosen the OpenShift example. There is many ways today. Of course, there is many vendors providing these platforms for the containers, but maybe the one of the most popular thing have been like a do-it-yourself kind of like that. They will take to Kubernetes, they will take all the components around it, they will build the platform. And normally when we are thinking about how to develop the containers, you need to have like a development environment, staging, and then the production. And if you build all these clusters like separate components, you don't know that if you update one component to other one, is that everything working there still, and you need to use a lot of time for testing, updating those modules and all these kind of things. But of course, the automation is available as well, so you always can automate all these things. But again, the OpenShift, when everything is coming with a single package, we have many customers who have been decided that, hey, we are using so much time to keep these Kubernetes clusters up and running and updating those that the work amount is very high. But when they will go to the OpenShift, and you can actually use, there is one button what you can choose that, okay, I would like to update the whole cluster to new version. Then you choose the version, and then you say that, hey, feel free to do this. And even that the OpenShift is in a production environment, it will take like maybe 3 or 4 hours, of course depends how much workloads you have there, but then it will take care that it moves to the workloads away from the nodes, then it will update the node, then it moves the workloads back and go to the whole cluster, and in the end it's saying that, hey, everything is working currently and you have a new version there. So it's really good way to save time from the operations point of view, how to manage these things. Again, somehow we have heard many times that, okay, OpenShift, it will include a lot of all kind of features and functions, and sometimes we heard that, okay, but it is kind of like expensive or something. And when we're asking that, hey, have you ever heard about the price and know what is the price? The answer is no, but it's still expensive. And this is something what I have been trying to figure out, that how these kind of, you know, thoughts have been come out of the field. And one thing what I have been seeing, that like whole idea how the Red Hat is working, all of our solutions are based to the open source code. So we are not owning that code, and we are not selling any licenses. So Red Hat, actually what we are selling is that the support for these solutions. So we are contributing and developing the open source based stuff, and then time after time we will take that code, we will productize it, and we will create a new version which we can support, and we will offer the life cycle for these solutions. We are offering other kind of add-on values which are supported in the top of the OpenShift, but those are not supported in community-based stuff. And also we are offering like a 24/7 support and these kind of things what are required that you can run safely your containers in a production. But if you have any issues, you can always call us and then get some help. But with the OpenShift, we only require these subscriptions for the worker nodes. So these servers which are actually carrying your main applications. So in cluster, we can have like a minimum amount is to 3 servers. But of course, then we can have like 3 master nodes, 3 infrastructure nodes, which we can use to run different kind of logging and monitoring services. And then we need to have at least 2 worker nodes. So even that in this cluster, there can be like 8 servers, but you only need to have 2 subscriptions for these 2 worker nodes. We are not requiring to have subscriptions for the other servers there. So that is very good to keep in mind, and that is not expensive at all. Okay, next slide, please. So like I said, this was already kind of like a busy slide, but this is even more busier. But this slide will show that we have 3 versions of the OpenShift. And if we will start in the left side at the bottom, there is the OpenShift Kubernetes engine. And you can see that this Kubernetes engine is only offering platform for the Kubernetes, but no other services in the top of that, like a service mesh, serverless, CI/CD pipelines, or other services there. And we don't have, in Finland and Baltics, we don't have any customers who will use this only Kubernetes engine, because the full value and whole value comes with the next version, which is here the OpenShift container platform. So it will have like this whole package, including the platform services as well. And that was like absolutely like a year, maybe 8 or 6 months ago, that was absolutely the most popular version of the OpenShift, what our customers were looking for. But it was like last year when we announced this Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus, which includes all the other stuff in this picture from the bottom to up. But this Platform Plus also includes the Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management. So that is central tool what you can use to deploy OpenShift clusters to your cloud service or on-premise virtualization or bare metal. So that is the tool what you can use to manage, deploy, and even set kind of like a policies, what you can, how the deployments needs to be done. you can use that one to update the clusters to next version. You can see if there is any issues in your existing clusters and do all kind of things there. Also, the Platform Plus package includes the Red Hat Advanced Cluster Security, which will gives you the security overview of your existing containers, what you're running in top of the OpenShift. And it will shows you if you have any vulnerabilities in those applications, or if you're also having any kind of vulnerabilities in your existing containers, which are in those registries as well. And the security is absolutely, when we think about today, what kind of threats we have right now, that is absolutely very important thing to take care the security point of view. Also, the Platform Plus includes the global registry, what is the Red Hat Quay. So that is kind of like a repository where you can store your container images. And that is also doing the scanning there. So you can see that, hey, you have outdated libraries or these kind of things there, and you need to take care and update those containers. And also the latest add-on to this Platform Plus package is the OpenShift Data Foundation. What is the storage solution for the OpenShift? Of course, it's possible to use almost any kind of storage with the OpenShift, but this OpenShift Data Foundation, actually it integrates inside the Red Hat OpenShift, and the management is done there. So when you have these stateful workloads like databases or some other kind of things, then the developers and actually do the storage provisioning and create the required storage for these applications, and it will take care that, okay, the storage part is redundant, and then the containers can use the storage space there. And of course, when we think about how the containers are working and what kind of features and functions you will need, then the whole need for the storage, it's a little bit different. And that's why this OpenShift Data Foundation, that is coming with the Platform Plus package as well. And we have 2 versions available there. This one, what is coming in this package is the essentials. So it will include all the other features and functions, instead of that if you need to have like a replication type of features and high availability type of features between data centers, then you need to have the advanced version. And the price difference between the OpenShift Container Platform and the Platform Plus is very small. So that's why the OpenShift Platform Plus is almost every case where we are having the discussion with our customers, they would like to hear what is the price for the Platform Plus. So this is kind of like versions what are available today. So next slide, please. So again, why the OpenShift? So I'm still highlighting the simplified installation, also the cloud-specific integrations. So you can have with our installer tools, there is available that, okay, I would like to do the deployment to the AWS or Azure or Google. Those are there automatically. And then all the upgrading, patching, everything, it's done in one single way, that you are always doing the upgradations in the same way. So there is no need to do any kind of like specific things to change some files there or these kind of things. It's always happening in the same way. And also there is a lot of other things in the top of the OpenShift what you can use to install more, like if you have a need for the API management or integration tools or databases or whatever, the operator framework will offer these, that it's very easy to get new applications up and running. So next slide, please. Okay, so develop at the speed of light. There is what I have seen when I'm facing our customers, mostly the people who are in charge of looking this container platform, they are coming from the infrastructure point of view. Like at myself, I have been working with like virtualization platforms like VMware, Nutanix, Red Hat virtualization, and know what kind of life there is. You would like to have a platform what is very easy to set up, very easy to understand, very easy to manage. But when we come to the containers, I have seen that very often happens that the local IT or infra team, it's not able to provide in a very easy way the platforms for the containers, or even that can take too much time. And then the application development starts to look like a cloud-based services. And in these kind of things, I'm always thinking that if I will be at the infra team, I would like to offer, of course, the platform. I would like that, okay, we are providing the best tools that the developers can just enjoy those tools, and we can live with these parts. But very often, the developers, they will prefer the cloud services and they would like to put things there. But then the local people, they kind of like lose the overview and view what is happening there, how much there is of resources, what kind of security there is, how the networking is happening. And like we know that like from the networking point of view, we have a customer where it's like a local network team, but they have been saying that we are not touching any cloud networks at all. And there needs to be like a separate people to build those ones. And when there is like a kind of like a two teams to build these things, then we are losing like a central point of view, what is happening and how we would like to provide these services and where we want to use this, what are the costs. And then of course it will make things much harder. Next slide, please. So from the developer point of view, OpenShift includes the code-ready workspace. So that means that it's the browser-based tool what developers can use to start to develop the applications. So this workspace is running inside the OpenShift. So always when developers are doing things, all the things are stored to the OpenShift in those projects. And again, developers, they have their own way how they will and what kind of tools they want to use and how they would like to do this development. It's totally okay, but this is just like a free tool what they can use. When the new developer is onboarded, they can provide the access there and tools like day one. It's very easy tool to use. And also we are offering code-ready containers. That means that these developers and basically anyone can run OpenShift in their own laptop or workstation as a virtualized. So of course it requires like a 16 gig minimum the memory, more is better, but they can actually see the real OpenShift environment. They can play with this application in their own laptop, and after they are seeing that everything works fine, this is absolutely nice code, then they can bring this code to the development environment or whatever, however the whole cycle of the development is done. But these tools are available and everything is included in the OpenShift package. Next slide, please. OpenShift pipelines, like when with the containers, we need to create these CI/CD pipelines, and OpenShift includes the OpenShift pipelines, which is based on Tekton. But of course, if you're already using some other tools like Jenkins or whatever, you can integrate OpenShift to that one. But normally what our customers are doing that, okay, first they just need to choose the platform for the containers, then they will start to use that platform, and then afterwards they will start to look at, okay, we are using this one for CI/CD pipelines, but there is a OpenShift pipelines and it's supported by Red Hat. So if you have any issues with that, you will get always support from us, you will get the new versions and everything, and then you will get like all the benefits out from the OpenShift package. But absolutely, you don't have to use this one if you don't want. Next slide, please. Can someone hear me still? Next one. Yes, thank you. Okay, there was a delay. OpenShift serverless. So if you are running that kind of services that you don't want to those applications be up and running all the time and eating some resources from the platform, then you can create a serverless functions. And those are when those are requested, then those are started up, they are actually answering the questions, then they will go down. So, and even that, if we think that most of the companies today, they are looking platforms. Right now is the moment for the platforms, container platforms. And the first step is just choose which platform to use as a main platform for the containers. And like we know that there is many options available, and there is all kind of like advantages and disadvantages with these platforms. But then I would like to say that when choosing the platform, that is the phase one, but when we will start to run more and more containers, and we will extending the whole architecture, and we are building this very modernized application architecture, then these serverless functions, these are pretty cool. And also OpenShift will bring the Quarkus as well, which is you can tune the Java applications, which will take out the unnecessary code, and it will squeeze the footprint of the application, because of course, when you are able to put these applications in a smaller footprint, then of course those will eat less resources from the platform. And of course, that depends that if you are running like a virtual platform, then you will just need less resources there. Or if you are running like a bare metal solution, then you're just eating less memory CPU from there as well. So these kind of small things, these will come in the future when you are extending and modernizing more and more these legacy applications to the containers. Next slide, please. OpenShift service mesh, that is also included. Architecture application solutions. We have a small applications like application A, it's providing this service, and application B is providing other kind of service, and then there is a C and D, and everything is related to each other. And when there is like a customer who is actually using maybe some web service, and they are trying to get some information from the product or service or whatever that is, the applications actually are interacting with each other to get all the information what that customer is asking. And of course, that is very important that the customer experience is always the best. And there's a lot of any kind of tests what have been doing over the years, what is the delay that the customer would like to wait until they going away. Like myself, I'm losing my nerves very quickly if the services are not running correctly. So the service mesh, it will bring the feature that you can see how these applications are interacting with each other. We can create rules that give me like a traffic light kind of like an indication if there is a delay between application A and D more than this amount of milliseconds, or give me some warning if there is these kind of errors occurring. So we can see that right now we are having issue in one place, which will affect to our application how it works, and then we can actually scale out, or we can do some kind of operations to fix these things to work even better. But these are not things what you need to think at the first phase. Again, like I said, first you need to choose the platform, you need to containerize things what you can, and then later on you would like to take all these features and all the functions and advantages out to even offer more services and better services for the customers. So next slide, please. And of course, there is a lot of research and different kind of media which have been saying what kind of things OpenShift is providing. And of course, that is absolutely the one thing what I heard as well when I started at the Red Hat, that from the development point of view and tools which OpenShift is offering, there is a lot of things going on. But I'm seeing that the more important thing to start is to understand that OpenShift is a very easy platform to deploy and manage, and then the development stuff comes later, and mostly these are handled by the developers. And always when you have like a discussion regarding the containers, the optimal way is to have like infra people and developers there. But I have been also in some meetings where the infra team is just choosing the platform, and they will say that, hey, developers, this is the platform, feel free to do whatever they want, because they need to live with the platform. Next slide, please. Okay, when we think that many customers, they have these legacy applications which have been like bought like years and years ago, and those have been just like updated to new version. And right now it's time to containerize these things. And of course, the best way is to containerize whatever you can, but always there is something what you just can't containerize in a phase one. You can maybe do that later on, but it requires more things to consider and design some things there. So next slide, please. So if you are running the OpenShift in a physical servers in bare metal environment, the OpenShift supports the virtualization as well. So that means that you can run in OpenShift cluster the containers, but also you can run the basic virtual machines there. Those can be like Windows servers, Linux servers, like in the same platform. And the idea here is that it's not like we are bringing more and more features to OpenShift virtualization all the time, because of course the ideal situation is that you have only one platform what you can use to manage everything. And if you think that you can containerize like most of the things, web servers and these kind of things, but if you have like a databases and you don't want to containerize those immediately, you can we have tools that you can bring those workloads directly from the VMware example and bring these to the OpenShift virtualization. And right now, very, very cool thing regarding the OpenShift virtualization. Of course, like in virtualized environments, all customers, they will need some Linux servers there. And of course, the Red Hat Enterprise Linux is the most popular Linux distribution all over the world. And of course, it will make sense to use the one distribution like a Red Hat Enterprise Linux for all possible deployments, because then when you standardize it, it is much easier to manage, much easier to understand any kind of like a debugging and these kind of things. But then, of course, if you would like to run Red Hat Enterprise Linux, you need to have subscriptions for that. And we are offering very flexible ways for the virtualized environment and instance space when you need only a few of those. But OpenShift virtualization automatically includes this Red Hat Enterprise Linux for the virtual data center. So that means that you can run OpenShift virtualization unlimited amount of the Red Hat Enterprise Linuxes, and you don't need to buy these subscriptions at all. And that is absolutely one of the very nice things. And I have seen that we are not sharing this information enough, and that's why I'm highlighting here this thing. And also other thing, what I would like to share with you, that Red Hat is supporting the Red Hat single sign-on, which is based on Keycloak project. And the Keycloak is the world's most popular single sign-on solution, what many big customers are using all over the world. That Red Hat single sign-on is the supported version of the Keycloak, and that as a single sign-on is also coming automatically with the Red Hat OpenShift. So instead of just having the platform for the containers, you will have like a single sign-on solution as well. And if you will run this in the top of the physical servers, OpenShift virtualization offers the Red Hat Enterprise Linux there as well. And then if you start to count all the costs and benefits, what you will get out here, It's a huge package what you can get with this. So next slide, please. We have a different kind of migration toolkits. So you can write down there that I'm running these and that applications, what can be containerized very easily, and those will give like a cool hints what you can do there. And also there is a migration toolkit for the virtualization, so it will ask like a few questions. Then can you bring these virtualized workloads from these virtualization platforms to the OpenShift virtualization? So these are pretty cool tools. Next slide, please. The whole idea around the OpenShift is that in the future, this is not available yet, but in the future, you can buy different vendor solutions inside the OpenShift and deploy those very easily. So good examples are like, if you will think that you are going to run the OpenShift, and then of course, the important part is like a networking, and you will like to extend your current load balancers to inside the OpenShift to get like more features from the different vendors' load balancer solutions. You can buy those and deploy those to the OpenShift, your existing containers, and then you can actually manage the whole load balancer section from the other vendor solution, but it's extended to the OpenShift. And these things will come later on more and more. Next slide, please. Be a smooth operator. Next slide, please. Like I said, the whole installation, it's done automatically. And these networks and internal load balancers and these things, those are coming after their deployment. And we have like a lot of customers who have been evaluating like different vendors stuff, and it's kind of like easy to understand from their questions which solutions they have been evaluating, because the OpenShift includes all these things automatically, but the other vendor solutions, you need to pick up which networking you would like to use and these kind of things. And that's why, again, I'm always encouraging everyone to just do the evaluation of the OpenShift using the assisted installer, which is very easy to use, or then the other deployment or install tool to the VMware or other virtualization as well. Next slide, please. Operator framework, I already mentioned what operator is. That is not like an application, what you just, you need to install the operator inside the OpenShift. And you can, in this picture, you can see that there is a huge amount of available operators. Some of those are like coming from the Red Hat, some of those are coming from the different vendors. And then when you install the operator, after the operator installation, you have the operator. And then you can use that operator to install the application itself. So example, if you would like to have like an API management solution from Red Hat Freescale, you first install the Freescale operator, and then you launch that operator to do the actual deployment. And then it's asking like, what is the name, how much resources, what you want to do, what are the paths, blah, whatever. Then you're just using that operator. So it will make life very easy. And there is a different type of operators, and some of those are supporting just like the installing the operator and removing operator. But then there is a different stages that, okay, it will support like installing, removing, updating, upgrading, removing. There's a huge list, and these operators are developing all the time. Next slide, please. Over-the-air updates. In this picture, you can see this blue button, and I have been laughing to myself many times that am I still talking about how easy to some platform is updates, and even that there is a one button. It's kind of like a hilarious to me, but again, this is a very huge thing. So there is like a different kind of channels available, and channel means that in these channels are different OpenShift versions available. And of course, for the production our recommendation is use the stable channel. So in stable channel, there is updates which are kind of like not always the newest version, but those are absolutely the stable. And then there is a different channel if you would like to always test the newest one, like today the newest version of the OpenShift is 4.10, and there is coming new features all the time. Then you need to separately choose the channel, and then you can do the update for some new versions. And this will make life very easy. I'm repeating myself, but again, this is a huge thing. Next slide, please. Advanced Cluster Manager, I already mentioned that, but in this picture, you can see that there is targets what you can choose that, okay, I would like to deploy OpenShift to like AWS or Google or Microsoft Azure, and then you just need to answer the questions, what kind of cluster you would like to deploy, and then it will do the deployment automatically. But this Advanced Cluster Manager is part of the OpenShift Platform Plus. Next slide, please. Of course, customer who was really happy that they don't have to use time to maintain and update the clusters, but I have been repeating this so many times. So next slide, please. And what are the next steps? Like I said, there is a few very easy way to test OpenShift, how it looks, how it feels. If you would like to test the developer type of things, that you would like to see how to manage the platform, you just would like to create few containers and see how those are working, just Google Red Hat OpenShift Developer Sandbox. You can get access for your own OpenShift environment, which is running in the Red Hat cloud in a few minutes. And that's the most quickest way to see what kind of things and management things there are available, but it's purely for the developers, because of course there is no option to install different kind of operators, update the cluster, or see these kind of things what infra people would like to see. Then I'm saying that, hey, there's this assisted installer, then there's different installer tools. It's very easy to do the OpenShift installation to your own data center. Just play it. It's really easy to understand how to live the life with that. And of course, we are happy to help. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us or a partner and we are happy to help to get, speed up to test OpenShift. And then the next slide, please. And that was all what I was going through in this session today, and I'm giving control back to Janis.
Yeah, thank you, Timo. Thank you very much for your presentation. And I have heard the story. This is not the first time for me, but I'm still learning things, as you probably do all the time. Let me show a few slides. Es atkal pāriešu uz latviešu valodu. Daži komentāri no manas puses, no DATI Group puses. Respektīvi, lai arī OpenShift ir tā nākotne, tomēr mēs brīžiem dzīvē saskaramies arī ar situācijām, kur šo risinājumu tā kā tomēr negribās pielietot potenciālajiem klientam vai organizācijai. Un es gribēju uzsvērt, ka Red Hatam ir arī citi risinājumi, respektīvi, tā skaitā hyper-converged infrastruktūras risinājumi, tiekam vairāki, kā arī virtualizācijas risinājumi. Tiesa šeit uzsvēršu jābūt ļoti uzmanīgam, ka daļa no šiem risinājumiem, kas ir pieminēti slaidā, viņiem jau tā kā tojas saulrieta fāze, tādēļ lūgums konsultēties, ja jūs apsverat tomēr kaut ko citu ārpus OpenShift, jo Red Hat produktu klāsts ir ļoti plašs. Nākamā slaida lūdzu. vēl neliels komentārs par to, kur darbināt. Timo jau pieminēja, bet es tomēr gribētu uzsvērt, ka šeit tiešām ir izvēle modernā pasaulē, pietiekoši laba izvēle. Nākamais slaids. Gan publiskajā mākonī, un šo informāciju, protams, jūs varat atrast Red Hat mājaslapā brīvi, respektīvi populārākie publiskie mākoņi. Nākamajā slaidā jūs redzēsiet, ka jūs varat darbināt principā arī paši, respektīvi, kā redzat šajā te 1, 2, 3, 4. kolonnā, principā var darbināt paši, var to darīt ar kādu partneru palīdzību. Nākamais slaids. Kāpēc mans uzsaukums ir vērsties pie DATI Group? Kā jau es sākumā teicu, mēs esam viens no 2 advanced partneriem, bet mums ir ļoti liela pieredze visdažādākajos infrastruktūras risinājumos. Ļoti ilgu laiku mēs esam strādājuši arī ar citiem vadošajiem ražotājiem. Kā es teicu, esam certificēti Red Hatam, bet ne tikai, un, kas ir mazsvarīgi, mēs runājam latviski, un esam tepat uz vietas, un varbūt varam palīdzēt saprasties vieglāk. Un tas, laikam, arī tad ir no slaidiem viss. Šo vienu mēs varam neatkārtot. Paldies, Inna.